and this is the third of the 3 interviews of the mayoral candidates. Carl P. King,
How you
welcome.
doing? How you doing?
You've been here before, you're
Yes.
here again. What does it mean to you to be a mayor?
To be a leader in a community that I care about, to help guide, support, and to grow with that community as well, not only the self-growth as well, to learn much more about my community, what the community means to me and others, and how we value it. But mainly just to leadership, to guide,
Okay.
I guess, to steer.
What's your vision for Newport? And I know that's a crazy question because it's,
Quite
yeah.
subjective, right, to everybody's opinion.
Yeah.
I really like the recreational aspect. I really like the fact that we have tourists coming in. We need that to stimulate our economy. But also at the same time, we can't forget the locals, the people who are here. The flavor that made Newport, that people want to come to see and visit. And, hey, what's this Newport nice? Or, what's this atmosphere that we have? Would love to share that and tell more people about it.
Yeah.
They won't know unless we tell them.
That's true, and until they visit.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly this is, you and I talking right now has just followed something really awful happening to Vermont. Major flood again.
Yes.
And yet again, Newport has managed to sort of be just on the edge of it. Doesn't mean we haven't had any damage, we have. But
Well,
nothing like the devastation south of us.
no, it's traumatic, and my heart goes out to the families and the towns.
Awful. Yeah.
But let's not forget, all rivers up here flow north, so we
We
are impacted.
Yes.
They come through and past and into the lake, and unfortunately, goes to Canada.
Right. And our lake right now is unusable.
Yes.
It's okay to have a boat on it, but there are semi-submerged logs, and they're
Right.
big
There are
enough.
warnings out there again for objects under the water
Yeah.
that you can't see.
There's some whopping great trees.
Fast
out there.
currents,
Yeah.
whatever poisons that may have been released into the waterways
Right.
as well too. Again, the four that
Yeah.
flow into one.
There's certainly no swimming in the water right now.
Strong advisories and warnings not to, not even with your animals.
Right. So part of our tourist attraction has up until now been our lake. And so it should be. It's wonderful.
I
This-
agree. It is.
This
It's
could
beautiful.
happen again, something like this. And I guess, I mean, in some ways the good news is you're the last of the 3 interviews, so nobody else gets the opportunity to have this question.
Okay.
But what else can we market about Newport besides the lake? Because I think we focus on the lake as our biggest asset, and it is.
Well, it is.
So
And
what
then
else
if,
is there?
if we look at the annals of our history, where has it brought our success? Where on the chart is it the most usable and economical to us?
Right.
And again, like you're saying, there's much more to Newport. I tell people, don't stand on Main Street and do a 360 and tell me you know everything about Newport.
Right.
Because you're wrong. There's so much more. Go out to different areas of Newport and see things in a different perspective. See what others are seeing. See what others are appreciating. What others have longed for, moved here, and what others hold cherished as their home. Recreational walks, our paths, our fauna.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful up here to be appreciated. We have an influx of these festivals, people coming in with the music shows.
Yeah.
Love it. Yesterday, Wednesday,
Yesterday was beautiful.
It was. The weather was great. Crowds even greater.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's really funny because the weather has been so awful, and yet we have had 3 Wednesdays on the waterfront with perfect weather.
right, we needed that. We needed that.
Big
It actually
time.
helped the community
Big
come
time.
together, fellowship,
Yeah.
in relaxed ease, and know that we're all okay, but we're going through this together.
Yeah.
And let's relax together too, have fun. It's okay
Right.
to have fun.
It sure is. What about business? I mean, Newport needs businesses, clearly.
They do. They need also a good workforce, a place to set up to, and a good infrastructure. If you don't have all those logistically, it doesn't make sense to really start a business that potentially will drain your savings,
Right.
and then you'll fail.
So how do you see the mayor's role in the development of businesses?
Well, the mayor's role, of course, as I'm learning with permission, with the whole team, council, to go out and court, if you would, developers, business owners and stuff, show them what we have, infrastructure, ask them what can we do more to help entice you to come in to bring your
Right.
business, and work on those goals.
Do we
I
have
believe we need to concentrate, I'm sorry, a lot of short-term goals right now.
Yeah,
Long-term, we've had enough long-term goals.
all right.
We need to really show tangibility that we're doing something and it's working.
What would you see as those short-term goals?
Well, certainly the businesses being more successful, our streets being walked upon more than twice a day by the regulars just going to work or to the store.
Right.
We want the influx of people coming in, spending the money here, leaving the money and the stories and the good times here
Right.
and the memories.
Do you think that a town like Newport, or any other town for that matter, can be successful with just tourism?
No, especially here, it requires that. Because you have businesses, but it's not enough to maintain the whole town or the
Right.
taxpayers with the property tax. If we don't have an outside income coming in, again, it's gonna drain all of us.
Right.
And we're gonna be bitter and the town dies and we don't want that. We
No,
want people to come
definitely
in and
not.
have money, see a potential, their potential, and hopefully that's part of our goal.
Right.
And to build and to start perhaps a family, younger businesses, and go from there.
So how do we build an economy that can sustain those of us who live here year-round?
An economy for those of, well,
We can't just
the
exist
only
for
real
tourists.
thing, well, you're gonna entice like industry. There has to be some sort of industry to come in to support a workforce,
Right.
for a tax base, a revenue. And that money will be spent again
Right.
in town as well too. So it's a good, healthy, complete circle. But we need again, like you said, industry to come in, jobs, kind of simple jobs. We don't need really heavy technical jobs. They can come in as well too.
Right.
There's a workforce for that. Actually, bring them both in.
Sure.
But that's what we need. We need some industry jobs, so people can get out there and be encouraged that there would be work, that there will be insurances, so on and so forth, and they'll be able to raise a family and sustain the dream they
Right.
came here for.
Do you have a plan for how to attract industries here, whatever industries we're talking about?
Well, certainly, you're gonna have to have your ducks in a row in logistics. You're gonna have to have an infrastructure that's gonna work for them. But you also wanna go out and entice them. You're gonna have to, again, court them, tell them we're here. I would certainly love to start what I call a sister city program. We find a sister city in another state, attach them, and encourage them to come up here and explore and maybe expand
Right.
perhaps their business. Maybe they want a second restaurant and want to expand. We've got opportunities.
We do. And I believe there are 11 other Newports in the country.
Exactly.
I don't know that that's who
Let's
you're
just
thinking
use
of
Newport,
becoming
Rhode
a sister
Island,
to,
for
yeah.
example. which is a very wealthy community.
Yeah.
Some of them are looking for getaways and hideaways.
Right.
Great opportunity.
Sure.
And they can bring money, ideas, and quite potentially business and development.
Mm-hmm.
These are the places and people you need to talk to. And the mayor is in a good, the position to spearhead that and bring that to the council, city manager, and let them go through the procedures and processes to help bring that about.
Right.
So everybody's doing their part of the efforts to stimulate the economy and bring business, industry, and development. Housing, we need housing. If you're going to have a workforce, you're going to need people to live
Yeah.
and be happy.
And we certainly need
And
housing.
stability. We need stability, not only in our council, not only the communication with our community, our council,
Right.
but also within ourselves, the community. Community's got to work within ourselves. The old adage of it takes a village to raise a child. More today, I think it means it should be stronger than that. We should all care. If we all get complacent, sit back and do nothing, that's exactly what we're going to get. Losers never write history, man.
True. How do you think we could change the current housing situation? It's not that we're short of houses in this town. We're certainly short of affordable housing, and we have a lot of properties that are second homes. But we have a lot of Newport citizens who don't have homes.
Well, we have a lot of demographics.
Yeah.
And again, we need to identify where and how many of that our numbers need more housing to be concentrated on. The fact is, when you say that we have plenty of housing,
We have a lot of houses.
there's a lot of houses, but there also got to be an income to pay for that house.
Right.
A lot of people are not in an economic situation where they can afford $1,200, $1,600 a month.
I couldn't.
Well, it's tough,
Right.
and it's a big dissuader, and a lot of times that falls back again on the taxpayer. And most times, the state ends up paying for what rent they can get in housing here.
Sure.
And sometimes that may use up housing set aside for a different demographic, if you would. So we need to really have it really mixed up. But a lot more is opening up and coming. The city's seeing that there's an influx and much more younger people coming in and wanting to stay here longer and want housing. So,
But it certainly would be good if younger people want to stay here.
well, again, once you entice them, you got to have things to keep them here.
Yes.
You know, it's not like big move, we got you. You know, you want to keep them in and keep them happy. And a happy citizen is a happy taxpayer. If you would.
I'm not sure if anybody's a happy taxpayer.
Well, in that
but-
regard, right.
Yeah.
But in that connotation.
Yeah. I think historically, one of the things that's happened here and in many other small towns and larger towns too, is that the same people are involved again and again and in various places. How do you see the mayor's role in getting other people involved, new people?
Well, the mayor really is supposed to care about everybody, so he should, or she should be really getting involved in a whole medley of groups of the constituents, not just really concentrate and focus on one. I think we strongly need teen clubs, some places where teens can go. So they're not on the street learning and seeing the bad things that are out there.
Well, not
Now,
to
we
do, right.
can't protect them, but we certainly can guide them away from places like that and like what a teen center, a good teen center that what they want to go to, we can then start teaching healthier ways of approaching life and how to deal with things that we do see in life. So we need to start, for one, in our home, ourselves, but our home. If we lose our generation that we have right now, it's our hope. We should be building a stronger Newport, a future for them that we can hand the baton to
Right.
them. That's how it's supposed to work. Do what you can in your time, affect our future, and give it to the next. And I'm ready in a position to be handed that baton, if handed to me, so I can help lead us into that new future.
How long have you lived in Newport?
About 32 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I've been here longer than most people combined, and being my opponents.
Yeah. And clearly you've chosen to stay here.
Stay here, and I've chosen to fight.
Yeah.
The good fight. My heart's in the right place. I have a servant's heart, and people ask why you keep fighting, because I think it's worth fighting for. And I ask them, why aren't you fighting?
Do you have any responses to that?
Most of them walk away. Most of them just have that blank look, and
Yeah.
most of them just say, "Yeah, you're right." But it's a true thing. It's a personal journey. It's a struggle. I found it's a real tough racket. You know, people, once they realize you're running for office, they instantly judge you.
Right.
And they think you're something you're not. And I find I'm always defending myself, and always an uphill battle even before I get to fight to be
Yeah.
mayor.
Right. I mean, it is inevitable if you put yourself out there to run for office.
Well, I put myself out there, and I've been
Apparently,
extremely
on
honest.
repeat.
And a lot of times I'm being held down for things that have been in the press that aren't actually accurate. And if people actually took the time to research or ask me a question, I'd be
Right.
delighted to answer those questions and fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So other people don't control that narrative.
Right. And that actually is a really important point. It is important to ask whoever.
You'd be amazed what I
their
could do
version.
if my wings were to open up and spread and I could fly. You'd be amazed. Just give me a chance, you know.
Yeah, controlling our own narrative is important. You have been very honest about some of the parts of your background, and everybody has a history.
Sure. We also have the right to learn from our mistakes.
Right.
But also I'm setting an example of someone who wants to rise above, not be identified by something I may or may not have done, but also to do something to better myself, and then use my knowledge in my growth to help my community, to show that you can
Right.
rise above. You don't have to be from a certain bloodline. You don't have to have 17 letters after your name to make you worthy. I have Carl P. King. That makes me worthy enough.
How do you deal with the questions
And
that...
I'm local.
Well, that's true. You are local.
And I know the flavor. I know what our locals want. I know the voice, whether you speak it or not. That's truly important. That's how you feel and know your community. You just don't come in and say, hey, I know my community because 7 people told me about it. That's not how it works. That's not success. That's an successful run and an agenda. I've always been for Newport.
One of the things that surprised me about this particular round of mayoral elections is that party politics have come into it. I mean, the mayor's position, as I see it, is not one that involves a party. It's not one that says, I'm a Democrat, I'm a socialist, I'm a Republican, or whatever. But somehow that's been brought in this time. Why is that?
You know, you bring up a good point. The mayor absolutely should be straight down the line independent. He should be, or she, the position should be for everybody.
Right.
Open and transparency, and I believe in it. I'm a conservative Republican. But that has nothing to do with my leadership, my ability to do that and guide and interact with my community. I do feel as though that does actually allow me to have a little bit more opportunity to bring more things and talk to more people to let them know that Newport's here, up in the state level, so we're not always the forgotten city, right? The forgotten kingdom. So that can be a useful tool in that regard. It shouldn't be the tool to get you in a position. A position should be open and transparent, independent for everybody. But I do, for transparency, claim I'm a conservative Republican. But I will not be swayed in any way, shape, or fashion by any side. It's about Newport. I've gotten this far with that, and I'm going to go further with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's
it has been something that's been different about this particular round.
I've only listed it one time, only because I'm not a braggart, but sometimes people need to, well, they told me I need to a little bit open up about what I do, and there's a lot more that I do that people don't know.
Sure.
And I need to
And those are the
share
things
that, and these
people
are
need to hear.
the blanks I guess people need to, I need to
Right.
fill in. And I soon will here. I'm going to be doing, like I said, the interviews, so on. So I'll be filling the blanks in here. I can see that that's
Good.
quite a necessity.
Yeah, I think it is. And I gather there's another panel discussion. Are you participating in that?
Next
Next
Wednesday,
I
that is
believe.
correct, yes. And I plan on attending
Good.
and representing and hopefully showcasing my abilities to lead Newport.
If you were to use the next few minutes here to make it clear to those who are watching what you individually have to offer that is maybe different from others, what would that be?
Well, just to go off, just simply this is, I'm a real local. I've been here for over 30 years. Again, I know the flavor, I know the voice, I know what people want, I know what they don't want, and I certainly know what they don't need. But I also know that we need to move into the future. So technology, advancement, and tourism is one of the conduits that's going to help get us there. So we can't live in the past and stay there. But we certainly need to protect the flavor and the local customs of Newport. I intend on doing that. I intend on reaching out to other communities to see what we can do for each other, but also with other states that would help stimulate, again, our economy, bring businesses. I can't talk to someone in West Charleston. They're not going to build a building here and jobs in Newport, Vermont. So we need to talk to big developers, and there are other places. So we need to contact them and tell them we're here. So to be the voice of Newport, to contacting those developers and businesses. I just want to encourage the recreation to keep going. It's fun to see the beauty and the different aspects and meet different people and see the smiles. And the new flavors, the vendors, the foods that are coming up, the festivals, it's really enriching our community. So let's slow down a little bit. Let's grasp what we have. Let's all get in on the ball, figure out what we got. Let's put all the pieces together, and let's move forward. Let's start rolling that ball and let it get bigger and bigger, such as a snowball.
Do you see other people participating in this discussion about what that ball is going to be and how
I
it's
would
rolling
actually
forward?
encourage that. Why are we not having a community advisory group or a council where everybody sits in a room and throws these ideas out? That's where the answers are. I always say it's in our community. We just need to go out and ask for the answers.
And as
And
you know,
listen.
Yeah.
We need to listen for the
right.
answers as well,
I mean, as
too.
you know, community has not always felt involved
Well,
significant.
they were involved in getting people elected. They should be involved in their governing
Right.
and their leadership. That's how it's supposed to be. That's responsible civic duty, not just elect person and forget. Just give them everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a responsibility, and again, with great responsibility, with great power, comes great responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not only what we give, but it's to ourselves.
Right.
We need to be responsible and make sure that no one's taking advantage of us or a fellow man, community member.
Right. So how do you see the mayor and council working, say, with the municipal building, the people who are actually doing the day-to-day running of this city, which is important?
Well, it should be, in a town such as ours, laugh if you must, why are we not Andy Griffith type of community,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for, doing what you're doing. I appreciate it, Thanks, Bob, the flowers look good, thanks, Tom, the road got paved, and this is, thank you, thank you,
Right.
Rebecca, for doing this, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for doing that. Thank you, leadership, we should all appreciate each other, and it goes both ways.
Right.
But if we're two separate entities, that's always going to make a battle.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a battle within two entities.
Right.
Until they become one, there will be no battle.
Mm-hmm.
Just cohesiveness.
Right. I mean, you're right, there is a tension, and some of that is probably a good thing, and some of it certainly isn't.
There has been a lot of changes going on
Yeah.
in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, let's step back just for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got. Let's see where we're going to get August 1st. And if you vote for King, you're going to get something really good. And
Nice
then
plug.
let's get that plan. Let's
Yeah.
get everybody together. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And let's approach it. Let's tell the council, hey, this is what we want. This is the future. And we're ready to move forward. Everybody together. So,
We have had a lot of group plans over the years. I mean, there's a whole shelf of them in probably the library, but certainly over in the municipal building, and they're all available online. Some of them have been totally tossed. Some of them have sort of been incorporated in newer plans. Have you looked at any of those?
I have not. I've need to set a little bit of time aside here to get into a lot of that.
Yeah.
And again, access hasn't always been the easiest as of lately. And sometimes I don't want to stir any hornet's nest or anything. I just want some things to settle down. And when I have access and stuff, and time to absorb and understand
Right.
what this would potentially be handed to me,
Yeah.
I'll be in a greater position to answer a lot more questions,
Right.
not only that I have, but the community have. But again, everything's just transparency. It shouldn't be hard to discuss any business. It should be quite easy. And rest assured, with the leadership that I can provide, we will have that. We'll have answers. And I'll certainly get back to people, and I wouldn't, and I'll look you in the eye and tell you I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to do it. If you want to bleep it, I'm not known for both. And it stops here.
Well, that's about it for today. Are you looking forward to the discussion on Wednesday?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about my opponents, and learning about my community as well. Because there's going to be people that are asking good questions.
Yeah.
But certainly I like to hear them and potentially answer every one of them the best I can.
And there'll be a lot of people who are not able to be at that discussion who are then going to watch it afterwards.
Sure.
And then make their
Well,
decision.
that's how we learn. I encourage people to do a lot in person, so that way you can participate. 'Cause
Right.
if you have a question at home, you can yell at your TV, but it'll never answer back, I promise.
But most of us have done that.
Right.
Certainly over the years. Anyway, thank you for coming in.
As
And
always, Pam.
good
Thank
luck.
you.
I look forward to seeing your
Yeah.
signs around, because
Thank you.
they're
Thank
missing.
you very much.
Okay.
Well,
They're
it was
coming,
a
right?
shipping error. They're coming today, and they'll be out.
The
so.
weather hasn't helped.
Mm.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.